And now behind the scenes on the making of Terminator. The location? The desolate nighttime streets of downtown Los Angeles on the set of The Terminator, a futuristic action thriller from Hemdale Productions and Orion Pictures. Starring Arnold Schwarzenegger in a very unique role. The film also stars Linda Hamilton and Michael Biehn. Based on a screenplay written by James Cameron, the director, and Galen Hurd, the producer, Arnold Schwarzenegger plays the Terminator, a cyborg, part man, part machine, who has only one purpose: to return to the present to prevent the future.
Well, a Terminator for me is a very important and a very different role that I've ever played before. First of all, because it is not a barbaric type of a role. It's not with where you show the body or the muscles or so on. It's not a prehistoric type of a character role. It's futuristic. And I played the villain the first time in my life. It is playing a robot. I have never done that. So all of the things that the Terminator has are things that are very unique for me, and that's why I was very enthusiastic playing Terminator. And it's a very strong character, and it's a villain, but it is a villain that gets away with being a villain for the audience out there because it's playing a robot and not really a human being.
Michael Biehn plays a hardened guerrilla fighter also sent back to present day from the future to protect the Terminator's unsuspecting victim from the relentless onslaught of the unstoppable killer machine.
All right, listen. The Terminator's an infiltration unit. Part man, part machine. Underneath, it's a hyperalloy combat chassis. Microprocessor controlled, fully armored, very tough. But outside, it's living human tissue. Flesh, skin, hair, blood, grown for the cyborgs.
Look, Reese, I don't know what you want.
Pay attention! I gotta ditch this car. The 600 series had rubber skin. We spotted them easy. But these are new. They look human. Sweat, bad breath, everything. Very hard to spot. I had to wait till he moved on you before I could zero him.
Look, I am not stupid, you know. They cannot make things like that yet.
Not yet. Not for about 40 years.
It's a science fiction action thriller set in the present day, but it has a lot of futuristic overtones, and it involves time travel in the sense that the good guy and the bad guy are both trying to change history. The pivot of all this action is a girl who has no concept when the film begins of what her life will mean in the future. She's a waitress. She's going to college. She's trying to make ends meet. She has a lot of very common problems. She has no idea that these incredible events will impinge on her life. And then when they do, she has to learn to deal with it. And without giving away too much, basically her existence will have a significant event on all of world history in the future. And there's a tremendous desire for one side to have her removed. So they send back the Terminator to terminate her. She's targeted. And the good guys send back their man, and they can only send one guy. So he's got to go up against the almost impossible odds of trying to stop this machine, which cannot be stopped. Arnold, as Terminator, cannot be stopped.
As with any science fiction thriller, special effects play a vital role in the visual excitement and success of the film. And Emmy Award-winning Stan Winston has really devised some unique makeup and special effects for Terminator based on sketches given to him by director James Cameron.
Creator of Terminator effects, basically, is the title. My involvement is that I've basically the head of a large and extremely talented crew that have built and sculpted and put together this initial concept of gyms.
I never thought the time will come where I would be looking at photographs and I myself would ask myself, is this me or is this the dummy? There was no way of telling the difference. And it was really weird. And only and out of 10 times when I was asked the question, I must have been wrong 6 or 7 times. So this is how close this was, or exactly a resemblance of my face and of my head. So it was really amazing. Even in the film, there was no way of telling.
Meet the other star of the Terminator, a 200-pound electronically controlled robot created in the mind of director James Cameron. Built and designed by Stan Winston, the robot stands 6 feet 2 inches tall and has over 1,000 chrome-plated moving parts that were handcrafted by Stan and his staff. Building this mechanical marvel took almost a year from the original idea and initial drawings. Stan and his crew prepare for a scene where the cyborg has been injured in a fiery explosion. Now this will be the first time the Terminator robot will be tested and filmed in a scene. So everything must work as it was designed to. A final test of all the moving parts are gone over. Stan and his crew must simulate for the cameras that the robot is walking with a limp. It will take a crew of 5 men to operate the robot, all moving in tandem to create the illusion for the cameras.
Working with the robot was a real experience, and it was very fascinating, and I just must applaud everything that they did. You know, they worked as hard as I did. It was also very strange because you have lots of people operating above it, and the director, I mean, it's not a real reality per se that you can just look at and respond to. You have to create it for yourself and then respond to it. And instead you've got a director saying, okay, here he is, okay, now he's getting up, and now he's going, and now he's coming. You know, you have a little hand to work with too often. But it was very interesting, certainly, you know, one of the nicer things about the film.
Terminator, I must say, out of my career of a short 15 years, is the most exciting project that I've been involved with, and I hope will be extremely successful. I think it's going to be a lot of fun for everyone to see, and I was extremely fortunate in that I had such an amazingly talented group of guys to work with, whose names will remain off the screen, and no one will ever know who they are because I'm taking all the credit.
It really tested everything that I had. I felt completely exhausted when it was over. There was also a level of belief that was a little bit scary because we were working nights, 10 weeks at least of all-night shooting and coming home at dawn and trying to sleep, and it just wears down your spirit. So that by the end of it, you know, I just was so sort of caught up in really believing it and just undone by it.
One of the really nice things I think about the Terminator is that it is an action movie, and I think it's an excellent action movie. And I think James Cameron is really good, very talented young director. I think he's going to be a big star. I think he's very talented, and I think he really writes action well and directs it well. And so it's a good action picture, and so I think people should see it, and a lot of people see it just for the action alone. But on top of that, Linda and I's relationship in the movie gives us a chance to stretch a little bit and work as actors, not just running away from a robot. It's not what the movie's about, running away from a robot. It is, but at the same time, there's a good story, an excellent story here, you know, the Terminator, and it gives us a chance to play a lot of very good scenes as actors.
I came across time for you, Sarah. I love you. I always have.
I think Michael has a very promising future. He did a phenomenal job with the character. It's a very complex character because at the beginning we look at him as a villain because he's going through the same movements and the same pattern of action as the Terminator. But then he has to change and become the hero, and then beyond the hero he has to become the romantic lead, if you will. So there's a transmigration of the character that happens. Michael did a phenomenal job with that. Really understood the character. He brought a lot of intensity to it. I think that the chemistry between the two of them is absolutely perfect. Run you up from further back. Let's start you back a little more by the burners. Linda, you too, so that Michael can switch over to this position.
Okay.
Okay. Ooh,
Okay, so
ankle's
it's okay
going,
then
huh?
if I just come in?
No, the backs of my legs hurt.
No,
That's all right.
no, that's good. That's because they haven't had enough
It's okay
exercise.
then, we don't have to match this, so I can come in
Right.
like this.
Exactly. Right. And then Linda, just toss that pipe just down in here, okay, on the ground.
All right.
Okay, let's see it again. Do it a little faster too. Terminator's coming. And action.
Action!
Cut.
Cut!
And action.
Rarely do viewers ever get the opportunity to witness the painstaking preparation and special effects production that goes into just one action scene of a motion picture. We're about to show you, in capsulized form, the production efforts of over 50 crew members during 2 nights of shooting for a scene that will last approximately 90 seconds in the finished film. Now, scenes are shot in segments. This means that each scene in the picture is usually shot from 2 or 3 different angles. Well, in this one scene, Linda Hamilton and Michael Biehn will be filmed at least 3 times from at least 3 different angles. And who said being a movie star was fun and glamorous?
Well, the scene in general consists of a chase on foot down an alley where the guy and the girl are running from the killer cyborg from the future, and presumably he can gain on them because he's faster than they are. So the hero's got to come up with something fast. So he uses his shotgun to blow up the gas tank of a car, which creates a sort of wall of fire, and he jumps in his car and starts backing up, and Arnold's character, the Terminator, comes leaping through the fire and punches through the windshield to get the girl.
And roll sound!
107, Charlie, cover mark, aim, seat, camera, mark.
Here we go, and action! Get in, Ken. Cut.
As you can see, every precaution is taken to ensure that the fire created by the special effects team can be easily controlled. Almost every major motion picture today which incorporates hazardous stunts uses stuntmen to double for the star. Well, here, stuntman Frank Orsatti doubles for Arnold in a fiery leap to the hood of the moving car. Another dangerous stunt successfully completed.
On this movie, I was not about to do 100% of my stunts. The stunts were very, very dangerous on this film, and this is why I was not attempting to try to do it like in Conan, you know, where I do my own stunts.
However, when the camera needs a close-up of the leading actor, a double cannot be used. Arnold must actually hang on to the hood of the car as it races backward. And to create the illusion that the Terminator is partially on fire, the special effects team sprays 2 interacting chemicals over Arnold's body to create the smoke effect. Then, at the last minute, a rubber cement-type material is brushed onto his clothing and placed on fire. And the cameras begin to roll. Then there are illusions that even Arnold's massive strength can't create. Now this is when the mechanical effects team, headed by veteran Roger George, is called in to create movie magic. He's also in charge of creating the fire and explosions in the film. Jim and Roger discussed the operation of a specially designed pneumatic arm and fist that will be used for the first time in a motion picture to create the illusion that Arnold is punching through a windshield. Everything must go right on the first try, so the stunt is rehearsed and timed over and over again. There's no margin for error. Timing is everything. One miscue by Arnold or any of the crew would mean that the scene would have to be shot again, and the windshield in the car would have to be replaced. A very costly and time-consuming process.
I've seen things where windshields have been broken, and I've done it with breakaway glass, and I've never been satisfied that it looks right. And we had to play several consecutive scenes after that with that windshield in view, because that car then goes out into a car chase, and it had to look like a real windshield had been broken. So I talked to some special effects people, the mechanical effects people on the film, and we determined that we had to use a real windshield. So the question was, how do we generate the force to get through a real windshield on camera? So we built a steel fist that weighed, I don't know what it weighed, 15, 20 pounds, something like that, and put it on a pneumatic ram that had 300 foot-pounds of pressure behind it, and set it up on a rig. Now, unfortunately, the rig was not mobile. It couldn't be moved at the speed that I wanted the car to be moving, because the car is in motion. So, you can create the illusion that the car is moving by moving the background. So that's how we wound up putting 45 feet or 50 feet of brick wall on the side of a tractor trailer and moving it the opposite direction by the car with a fixed camera. The illusion works quite well. You really believe that you're moving with a moving car at the moment that it takes place. And then, of course, we put Arnold in front of the hydraulic ram, pneumatic ram, and we have the illusion that he punched through a windshield on a moving car.
Hey! Turn the E-fan up. You like? Act right.
Nice work, effects.
Boy, that team effort really paid off. The next segment of this action scene is carefully discussed between stunt coordinator Ken Fritz, the director, and Arnold's stunt double Frank Orsatti. It's the continuation of the alley scene, where the Terminator is clinging to the moving car as it races into the streets and crashes into a parked car. Once again, Arnold is brought in for a close-up shot from the sidewalk after being thrown over the cars.
Don't look at him as you slam his
Oh,
head.
yeah, absolutely,
You're
yeah.
already thinking about how you're going to get in
Into
and
the
what you're
car,
going to
using the car as an object for the next move, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
A discussion with Jim, Arnold, and the actor playing the police officer takes place to rehearse and time out exactly the physical assault on the officer in the film. Special padding is placed under the outer clothing of the actor to avoid injury when Arnold slams him into the door.
Back, and you go like this, yeah.
Like that.
Then I can go in.
Yeah, and that throws him well clear.
Exactly,
That's what
yeah.
out there.
Absolutely.
And now that you've seen what goes into the production of just one 90-second action scene shot over a 2-night period, let's take a look at the completed scene as it appears in the actual film.
Cut.
1L19, I got a hit-and-run felony. Suspect vehicle, late model, grade 4, headed westbound on 7. He's really moving, punching lights all the way. I'm gonna need an ambulance at 7th and Broadway right now. Hey, hold it! Wow! Oh, God!
All units watch for